It's only recent in our modern history that science has began to understand how reality actually works. Before this, a Newtonian model was accepted, meaning that things in the universe were either this or they were that, and their behavior was completely independent. It all happened by chance. And that chance interacting created our individual realities. And those realities then therefore created our inner experience. It wasn't until 1801 that Thomas Young unexpectedly changed the course of how science understands reality. It completely turned the way that science sees reality on its head. And it took scientists over 100 years to understand what Thomas Young's double slit experiment actually revealed, which shared the idea of superposition, meaning that quantum systems, the very basics of energy and matter of our universe, could exist in two different places at the same time. Superposition. Now, they would stay in those two different positions until they were observed. And that observation from the outside affected them and collapsed the potential wave into particle form. Now, I want to show you what this looks like and why this is so important to making your dreams a reality. It's important to understand that wave potential we can't see with our eyes, just the same as we can't see radio waves. So all the potentials for your life exist right now, we just can't see them. The only thing we can see is that reality we're observing, even if it's unconsciously. So what does this mean? That these blue balloons are going to represent the potential. So when we learn to observe them, even if it's unconscious, we collapse that potential into particle form. And this experience, a repeated pain reality, is potentially what you're experiencing right now, even though your dream reality exists in the wave function. But when you learn to consciously observe, consciously putting your energy into the places, it collapses your dream reality into particle form, even though that painful reality exists at the same time. This means that you can learn to focus your energy and be more aware of what you're doing to collapse the potential of that reality you daydream about and the one that you really deserve to have. Over the course of all my research, all my studying from my own experience, what I have found is that the foundation of so many great teachers has this observation idea as the core principle. The Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, Neville Goddard, Dr. Joe Dispenza, they all rely on an element of observation, where you're putting your energy. Now, most people go around unconsciously implementing this powerful law. They unconsciously put their energy on a certain reality, collapse that potential wave into particle, and are in a reality that they actually don't want and they feel stuck in. This could be a dead-end relationship, rejection, constant lack, a lack of fulfillment in your life. And no matter what you do, you feel stuck in it. That's because you're unconscious to where and how you're using your energy. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can learn to consciously observe the reality you want to take from wave potential into 3D matter. And I'm going to share with you why doing this and learning how to consciously observe is the most powerful thing you can do to create your own reality. So let's dive in. Now, here's where so many people get reality wrong. They think that what is being projected onto their fabric of their reality, what they're experiencing, the way to change it is to interact here. They're trying to change what's happening here, and something changes in their reality, and they're like, no, they're trying to change matter with matter, as Dr. Joe Dispenza would say. But no matter what efforts are made here, they don't do anything because you are in the observed reality. The observation has already happened, so you can't change it because it has already collapsed into 3D matter. So you don't observe what has been observed to change it. You have to get to what is projecting this onto the canvas of your reality, which is your subconscious mind. All the programs and beliefs that have been programmed and conditioned into you, where you're observing and putting that energy into a specific reality that's then getting cast onto the canvas of your current experience. So changing and interacting with the projection is not how to change it. You've got to get to the source, and here's how. So now the question becomes, how can you start implementing conscious observation into your life? Well, mostly what's probably happening if you've been doing a lot of affirmations, if you're following law of attraction, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Neville Goddard, is you're trying to observe this dream reality with your thoughts, and you spend a lot of time, energy there, and it can feel like, yeah, I'm spending this energy, I'm putting all my thoughts into this dream, but nothing's happened. I keep getting this painful, reoccurring pattern. The rejection, for me personally, it was endless rejection and fear and feelings of abandonment in relationships. I kept thinking of that secure, loving relationship, and yet in my own experience, I kept getting ghosted. I kept sending out all the texts, waiting for the call, and it seemed like the other person wasn't as interested in me as I was in them. And this continued to go on because my feelings and my actions were still observing that pain reality. And these feelings, which in my opinion, ultimately drive your actions, these are coming from your subconscious. So these are things that you're potentially unaware of. And when you start bringing awareness to your subconscious, that's when everything changes. Carl Jung has a quote, "Until you make conscious what is unconscious, it will dictate your life and you'll call it fate." So until you bring awareness to the deep down subconscious feelings that are driving this action, you'll keep getting stuck. You'll keep trying really hard and feel completely powerless. But in this video, I'm going to show you how you can get your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions in alignment so you can collapse that dream experience and focus that energy to collapse the potential into particle form. And Dr. Joe Dispenza says that your thoughts, feelings, and actions are your state of being. And when those are in alignment, that is when you will have your power, because you'll be using all that energy collectively together and not having some of the energy go towards the dreams and some of those go towards that painful reality that you don't want. So we're going to break down these 3 different aspects of your state of being so that you can understand and gain more awareness into what's going on in your own life. You can start taking your power back. So thoughts, a lot of times you're thinking of what you're wanting, but you're being in a different area. And Neville Goddard talked a lot about your level of consciousness. And right now I'm in a consciousness map on the screen. This helps you to understand when you're at the lower level of consciousness, that is run by guilt, that is run by shame. Those are the 2 lowest vibrations that you can actually be in. And when you're in those states, when you're in those emotions and have those thoughts coursing throughout your body, that is going to give you a very high level activity brain, more of a high beta brain, meaning a fear response. And you will not be able to manifest or create anything in your life if you're in a state of survival. Think about it. If a bear came crashing through the window right now and started chasing me, I would not sit here and keep creating this video. I would switch into survival mode and get the hell out of here. So the same thing is happening in your body. Now, we're going to talk about now the feelings, because a lot of times the feelings are what is actually driving your thoughts. So your feelings are going to come from deep subconscious beliefs. Do I have a fear that a bear is going to come through the window at any moment? If so, I am living as if that experience is happening to me right now. My body does not know the difference between thoughts so vivid that they're creating a physiological reaction and an actual experience. So if I have a fear that that's going to happen because I might have had animal attacks in the past, my body's going to live as if I am in a state of attack. Now, this looks a lot different when it comes to human beings, because maybe you have had a history of abandonment. Maybe growing up, your emotional environment very much off what did you do? You had to earn emotional connection. So you could feel right now that if you don't please other people, if you don't show up and be over the top and fill a need for somebody else, then they might leave you. So your body could be fearing, as you were as a child, that if I don't perform, if I'm not a really good girl or boy, then they're going to leave me. Now, as a kid, if somebody left you, if your caregivers left you, you would be in danger. So if you haven't updated that, if you haven't gone in here and updated this, your feelings could be in a survival state, meaning that you're unconsciously thinking about that reality. So because you're afraid it's going to happen, but by default, you're collapsing and repeating and repeating and repeating the energy. And most times the action that you take is based on fear of those unconscious beliefs. You're not good enough. Nothing good ever happens to you. Everyone's going to leave you. You're not enough. All sorts of limiting beliefs can come up here. So what you want to get clear on is what you're not aware of. And you might be thinking, well, that's great. How in the world am I going to get clear on something I'm not aware of? Your life is going to reveal to you a lot of your unconscious limiting beliefs. Now, one of the easiest ways that you can start becoming aware is to take your conscious attention and see what you're interpreting your outside experience as, because that will reveal to you the filter that you're seeing it through. And the filter is the belief that you're in. And again, when you're in that belief and your feelings and your actions are going off that belief, that is what is going to collapse that potential and bring it into your 3D reality. So you got to get clear on this. You got to get clear so you can start making new choices and sending out new energy and essentially becoming thoughts, feelings, actions, a new version of you, which will collapse new potentials into new experiences, into new matter. So one of the easiest ways to do this is to mind the gap. That means you have an experience in your life. Now I'm going to use an example for relationships because this is where I learned all this stuff. And it would be, okay, maybe I really like somebody and I'm really excited and I can't stop thinking about them and I send them texts and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And now I'm getting a little bit worried. Now I'm getting really anxious. Now these fearful thoughts are starting to come up. Oh, maybe they're not as interested. Did I say something? Oh man, maybe I should have sent that other text. Maybe I should have got them those flowers. So an event happens, they're not texting me back. So the no text is happening. This is the event that's causing a trigger. Now the trigger is not me and this person now. The trigger is coming from my past experiences. And these past experiences are what has created a belief, because little me created interpretation or meaning of why maybe somebody left, maybe somebody didn't give me something, maybe somebody didn't connect with me, and I thought it was because of me. So now I'm having that same fear, and inside of me, the fear is just as real as when I was a little kid and I was scared. Did I do something bad? Am I going to get rejected? So inside of me, my feelings unconsciously and my actions and my thoughts are being driven by the past. And if I keep living in the past, I'm going to keep recreating it. So this event comes up, they're not texting me, I'm afraid they're going to abandon me. So I can know, oh, okay, I have a meaning that because I'm not enough, they're not texting me back. And if I would have done more to earn it based on past interpretations with a little me whose mind was not developed, who did not understand what was happening, but who took the blame because surely it wasn't my environment who knew how the world works, surely it was me. I was that limiting factor in things. So easily right here, you can start to understand where your energy actually is. Now, consciously, I was thinking of this wonderful, secure relationship that I really wanted, but that's not who I was being. I was being somebody who had a very low worth, who was very codependent, who didn't have a sense of value or a sense of identity unless I was in a relationship. If I had a relationship, then I would be whole and complete. So my thoughts, feelings, and actions were being somebody who was rejected, who was not enough. And so I would collapse that potential of my experience into 3D matter, meaning that people, circumstances, and situations kept replaying because I kept staying in this energy, because I wasn't consciously aware of it. I kept using my thoughts, kept trying to think of other things, kept trying to learn and intake information. but I wasn't actually moving any energy. I wasn't shifting. I wasn't alchemizing those wounds. I first had to get aware of this dynamic so I could start to become aware. Oh, I'm starting to tell that old story. Okay, I got to calm that nervous system. I got to be aware, and I got to use my high-level adult functioning brain now to override my fear-based response. And it's a lower-level brain, a lower-level function of a survival mechanism. The more and more you start to mind the gap, start to understand that there is a pause here. When you pause, when you start breathing, become aware of this story, I guarantee it will completely change your life. I would get neurotically anxious, so nervous, so scared at just even the thought that someone was going to leave. And since then, I've had some really intense situations come up where a very real situation that I was going to no longer be with somebody that I really wanted to be with. But rather than it completely crushing me and sending me just on the floor of just an emotional wreck, I was able to stay with myself because I changed this meaning. I know I'm enough now. And if something outside of me happens, it's not because of the fundamentals of my worth. I don't know if somebody else is going through things. Some people may like me, some people may not, and it doesn't change my worth. It doesn't change that I'm enough. And the same is true for you. When you start to learn how to mind the gap, when you start to learn to understand what meanings are you putting on situations, not to judge yourself. I can't believe I still don't think I'm good enough. What's wrong with me? We're not looking for judgment. We're looking for, as Gabor Mate says, compassionate inquiry. Get curious about what programs are in there. It wasn't your fault that you believe this to be true, but you can now take a responsibility to understand, oh, a belief is simply a really strong opinion, and I can see it from a different perspective that I was always deserving of love and connection. Whatever I didn't get as a kid was not because I wasn't worth it. It was simply because the environment could not provide that to me at the time. No one's bad or good in that situation. But when I see it and understand it, I can put a new meaning here. I can change how I see the situation by giving myself a new meaning, a new label. In doing this, that changes your thoughts. That changes your feelings at a subconscious level, meaning you don't have to keep trying and forcing these things to happen because they'll be natural. And when you have these things come up, you can learn to shift your mind. Your mind is a function of your brain. Your mind is basically all the filters on how you see the world. When you change those filters, you see an entirely new world, and you deserve to see the situations and experience the things that reflect your true worth, which is whole and complete and worthy and deserving. You are a unique creation of this universe, and just as every single person on this earth deserves love, connection, and have their needs met, so do you. You belong and you deserve. Understanding this will completely revolutionize your life, but you need a couple more details to really understand how to implement this into your life. This next video right here is going to show you step by step how you can transform and alchemize limiting beliefs. So check that out right here.